This is the story of the lost letter. It was a sunny afternoon. Sofia was walking through the park. She was a kind and curious young woman with a big heart. She loved taking long walks in the park, especially when the sun was setting. As she walked along the path, she came across an old wooden bench. It was one of those days when the sun was shining, the birds were singing, and the flowers were blooming. But there was something in the park that day that made it different from all the other days. On the bench, Sofia saw an old letter. It looked like it had been there for a long time. The letter was yellow and brown with age, and the words were almost impossible to read. But something about the letter made Sofia stop and take a closer look. With her heart beating fast, she opened the letter and began to read. "My dearest Mary, if you're reading this, it means I never found the courage to tell you this while I was alive. I loved you. I've loved you since the first day I saw you. You were the most beautiful girl in the world to me, and I knew right away that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with you. But I was too afraid to tell you. I was afraid that if I told you and you didn't feel the same way about me, it would ruin our friendship, so I kept my feelings a secret." Sofia's eyes filled with tears as she read the words. Who was this Mary? And what happened to the man who wrote the letter? Sofia felt a deep sadness for the man who had never been able to tell his love the way he felt about her. But at the same time, she couldn't help but feel curious. She wanted to know more about the man who had written the letter and what became of him and Mary. As she turned the letter over in her hands, she noticed that there was a name written on the back. "Michael!" Sofia called out. A young man turned around. He looked at her and smiled. "Hi, I'm sorry. Did I say your name out loud?" Michael asked. "Oh, no. It's okay. I was just thinking about my grandfather." "You look like him," the young man replied. "Really? How do I look like your grandfather?" Sofia asked. "Well, you have the same brown hair and eyes, and when you smile, you have the same dimples." They started talking, and soon Sofia learned that the young man's name was Michael, and that he was the grandson of the man who had written the letter. Michael had come to the park because he was looking for his grandfather's things. His grandfather had passed away recently, and he had told him about the letter he had written but never sent. Michael had searched everywhere for the letter, but he couldn't find it until now. "I think we should read this together," Michael said. "Sure, let's read it together," Sofia replied. They sat down on the bench and began to read the letter. As they read the letter, they talked about the man who had written it and what his life might have been like. They shared stories and laughed together. And as the sun began to set, they decided to go for a walk in the city. "We should do this again sometime," Michael said as they walked. "I'd like that," Sofia replied. She couldn't help but feel a connection with Michael. He was kind and gentle, and she could tell that he had a good heart. As they walked, they talked about everything and nothing. They talked about their dreams and their fears, their hopes and their wishes. And as they talked, Sofia realized that she was falling in love with Michael. At the end of the day, they said goodbye and promised to see each other again soon. In the coming weeks, Sofia and Michael saw each other often. They went to the park, they walked by the river, and they talked for hours on end. And with each passing day, Sofia's love for Michael grew stronger. One day, as they were walking in the park, Michael stopped and took Sofia's hand in his. "I love you," he said. "I love you too," Sofia whispered. As the sun began to set, they sat down on a bench and began to read the letter again. They couldn't believe that something as simple as a letter could have brought them together. But then again, they knew that anything was possible when it came to matters of the heart. And so, as the sun set over the horizon, Sofia and Michael sat together on the bench, lost in their own little world, knowing that they had found something truly special in each other. And that's the end of our story. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to leave us a comment and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next time!